NBA legend Rick Barry, who's also the coach of the Ball Hogs, fittingly, in the Big Three, 3-on-3 basketball league, has said to USA Today that the scrutiny President Trump is under is a, quote, disgrace to the world. Quote, it's a disgrace to the world, to our country, what they're doing. The scrutiny that he's going under is absurd. It's ridiculous. Politics has always been horrible, and is even worse now than it was. What's going on now is reprehensible. And then he goes on to talk about the investigations to Trump and Russia. How long does it have to go on? I mean, come on. They beat a dead horse. Let's move on. Let's try to go and do what's good for the country. Well, you know what? I remember when Bill Clinton, the moment he stepped into the White House, January 1993, right, the Republicans were trying to get him out. They felt entitled to have the White House with Reagan and Bush the first there, and they saw Bill Clinton as illegitimate. Okay. Now, do the Democrats see Trump as illegitimate? Probably. Okay. Which I don't necessarily agree with. He was elected through our electoral college system. Even though I think he's reprehensible, he was elected and he is the president. But so was Bill Clinton. And Republicans felt like he wasn't legitimate. And from the moment he was stepped into the White House, they tried to get him for stuff. They tried to pin the Vince Foster suicide on him as a murder. Then the Whitewater scandal occurred with him and his wife and Jim McGoogle and property down in Arkansas, right? And Ken Starr, who I think was the independent, later on was the independent investigator, tried to pin Whitewater on the Clintons so bad. But it's the thing. As an independent investigator, Ken Starr was supposed to investigate that particular crime. But they were trying to pin anything on Bill Clinton to get him removed from office and put in jail. They couldn't really find anything with Whitewater. Then he switched later on in the second term to the Monica Lewinsky scandal. Okay, that was 7+ years of trying to get Bill Clinton in a witch hunt, to the point where they put the country through an impeachment trial based on the fact that he got his dick sucked in the White House. People can say, oh, it was about this, or he lied, or purged. It was because he fucking got his dick sucked in the White House. Meanwhile, you had people who were part of the witch hunt, like a Henry Hyde, for example, who were engaging in extramarital affairs in their past, or even more even more ridiculously and hypocritically at the same time. But I didn't hear Rick Barry saying, "Dan, we need to move on from this. This is a disgrace, and this is reprehensible, and we need to move on. And this scrutiny is ridiculous." Then when Barack Obama was president, they would try to, even though he won in a landslide, electoral college wise, won majority of the popular vote. Election is it's undisputable that he won. People question legitimacy. Donald Trump is part of the witch hunt on Barack Obama. We don't believe you're president. We need to see your birth certificate. Where were you at then, Rick Barry? Where were you at for his entire presidency when people questioning his, his legitimacy to be president of the United States? Where were you then? But now, a mere 6-7 months into Trump's presidency, we need to move on. Get the fuck out of here. Okay? Get out of here, man. But you know what? What it really is, too, you identify with Donald Trump. That's what it is. You identify with him because you're both men who are in your 70s, crotchety, and very opinionated, and both of you guys are assholes. Okay? Both of you guys are assholes. Robert Parrish talked about how you were arrogant. You know? Matter of fact, let me see if I can find these quotes. Let's see. Give me a second. Yeah, Robert Parrish. He had, on Rick Barry, he had a bad attitude. He was always looking down at you. Mike Dunleavy, he lacks diplomacy. If they sent him to the UN, he ended up starting World War III. Ken Macker, a former executive with the Warriors. You'll never find a bunch of players sitting around talking about the good old days with Rick. His teammates and opponents generally and thoroughly detested him. I read about how there was an incident where one time Rick Barry got into a fight during a game, and none of his teammates helped him because they can't stand him. You know, and of course there was the Bill Russell watermelon grin incident. You used to be able to find it on YouTube, but I don't know if it's up there now. But during a game, what was it? Game 5 of the 1981 NBA Finals, Rick Barry looked at Bill Russell and said, "Look at you, smiling ear to ear with that big watermelon grin." Come on now. Rick Barry's a complete and total asshole. Just like the guy we got in the White House right now. Possibly racist. Possibly. I'm not going to sit there and call him a total racist because I don't see a history of that, but that was a racist comment. Okay? So, yeah, he identifies with Donald Trump. That's what that is. I will say, having said all of that Rick Barry is still one of the greatest basketball players of all time. That can't be disputed. But much like Michael Jordan, there's a difference between the basketball player and the person. Rick Barry's probably even worse than Jordan. I mean, Jordan isn't this bad. Rick Barry is one of the biggest assholes ever. So, you know, there's that. Rick Barry's entitled to his opinion. I'm entitled to mine. What I have to say, fuck your opinion, Rick Barry. Okay? You know, there's many presidents that have, you know, Donald Trump talks a lot of shit. Okay? He talked a lot of trash when he was running for president. I saw him in a press conference yesterday. Didn't even address a reporter by their name, called them fake news. Rude. Fake news. He's a fucking bully, rude piece of shit. And you can identify with that. Look how you talked to Rob Parker last month on the radio. Just because you didn't agree with him. Just because he didn't agree with you on LeBron James and that basketball play he made in the finals game, when most people criticized him for passing the ball to his teammate instead of shooting the basketball. You call Rob Parker a moron or a loser. Yeah, that's what it was. You call him a loser, which fits right into the most people saying how arrogant you think you are. So fuck you, man. Great player, though.